You know, sometimes people say to me, you know, this campaign is pretty rough. You may want to quit. I know that there are newspaper editors and other politicians that say, boy, I wish that guy Weiner would quit. They don't know New York. They certainly don't know me. Quit isn't the way we roll in New York City.
Well, if you don't live in New York City, you probably haven't seen that commercial. That is Anthony Weiner's latest ad in which he shrugs off calls for him to drop out of the race to be the mayor here. This after it came out that he sent sexually explicit messages to a number of women after resigning his seat in Congress for sending out sexually explicit messages to a number of women. So, Rick, is he right? Do the editors want him out of the race? I mean, he makes great headlines and great copy.
Yeah, I think the media definitely want him in the race because it's a fun thing, especially for New York. I think he has every right to run. I mean, I think he's ridiculous for running, but I think he has every right. I was struck this week, though, John Nolte and Breitbart had such a great piece reminding us that in the very beginning you had Rachel Maddow and others at MSNBC who really took to Andrew Breitbart and tried to make this Weiner scandal into being another phony scandal, and it turned out not to be true, and I think we need to remind the left that they never believed it in the beginning.
Well, and it was Democrats, Jim, who proposed that the GOP was having a war on women. I guess maybe Anthony Weiner really likes women, and
right, he had his own kind of relationship with him. I mean, look, Emily Miller at the Washington Times is one of many conservative pundits who made this point, that the real war on women, including Filner in San Diego and so on. But if you want an example of how this works, there's a great behind-the-scenes piece in the New York Times by Amy Chozick and Michael Grinbaum about the Clinton operation behind the Weiners. The Weiners are staying in an apartment owned by a Clinton donor. A Clinton press aide has been orchestrating all this. People magazine and the New York Times cover story and so like that. So unfortunately now the Clintons are discovering that Weiner is kind of a Frankenstein's monster who's gotten loose on them.
And the Clintons have tried to distance themselves from Weiner and his wife this time around.
Right. Last week we were talking about that and the absence of reporting on the Hillary Clinton-Huma Abedin connection. And what was it? Now we're into investigations of the other women who were sexting with Anthony Weiner. You know, there's a word in New York for this kind of race and this kind of candidate. It's the chutzpah candidate. And it is a very New York word.
We have to move on. The editors at the New Haven Register don't like rocker Ted Nugent. They don't like his views on race nor his politics. In fact, it appears they don't like conservatives, or Fox News for that matter. From their editorial earlier this week, the same basic message that the KKK has promoted for 148 years is embraced by the likes of Ted Nugent, Fox News, Ann Coulter, a burgeoning array of fringe conservative media, and members of our own community. Well, that unfounded bit of editorial vile got some pretty strong reaction, including from this guy.
The editor of the New Haven Register is Matt Dorenzio, the publisher Tom Wiley. The paper is owned by a hedge fund, if you can believe it. The boss is Randall Smith. Now, we asked those men to discuss that irresponsible editorial. They all declined because they are cowards, and they know they cannot defend that vile, libelous piece of garbage. The New Haven Register should be ashamed. The paper has lost all credibility, and it had better apologize in writing by the end of the week.
Well, Matt DiRenzo did apologize, kinda, writing, "It was a poor choice of words that created an unfortunate comparison between Fox News and the KKK. We are sorry for that." So, Joe, it's okay, I guess, if you have an organization, a news organization even, that you disagree with, to compare them to the KKK.
Sure. I wonder how Juan Williams, for instance, feels about that, being compared to the KKK. Tom Wiley, the publisher, maybe I'll break some news here. He is the head of NAMBLA. Oh, no, he really isn't. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. In other words, to put things out there like that and then pull it back, all I know is they probably sold a lot more papers, they got a lot more publicity, and they were completely irresponsible in saying something like that, just like I could have been by actually meaning what I just said.
Ellen, you're an unabashed liberal. Is this a signal that liberal media just don't like opposing views?
Well, they may not like opposing views, but what my biggest criticism is, they sort of dropped the bomb, they put Fox News in there, and they didn't back it up with one thing.
Well, but let's remember that they did apologize, and I think that's important to note. I mean, the apology wasn't a full apology, But I exchanged emails with Matt, the publisher, the editor this week, and he did apologize for his editorial writer. I do think there's a problem, the fact that the editorial writer is comfortable enough to say these outlandish things, but they apologized.
I mean, John Nolte at Breitbart had headline, New Haven Register compares Fox to KKK, apologizes, does it again. I think that's what Eric Wimple, the Washington Post, has been on this as well. Give him credit, too.
The question is, how does this stuff get out there in the first place, Judy?
Well, it gets out there because you have, for one thing, an administration that denied that Fox News was a news channel. Does anybody remember that a mere year ago?
Not a legitimate news organization.
Not a legitimate news organization. So I wonder why liberals would get the idea that Fox News